Let's use the first few Linux commands at our command line terminal in our Kali Linux box. So once you've opened up Oracle VirtualBox, find your Kali Linux. It should be saved in its previous state. We're going to start it. And if you've let your Linux machine log out, all you have to remember is root and tour, T-O-O-R, when we sign in to our Kali Linux box. And remember, if you ever forget that, it's down here in the description in Oracle VirtualBox. I'm going to go to full screen so that we can see this better. There we go. And in Kali Linux, I'm going to open the terminal. That's over here on the left-hand side. Or you can go up to Applications and come down to Useful Applications. And then you can see Accessories and Internet, Office. You can see lots of different things down there. The easiest way to grab it is from here at the command line terminal. And we're going to zoom in until our command line terminal almost fills up the screen, just so we'll be able to see everything pretty clearly as we do each of these. Well, when I'm first logged in as my root user, if I do an ls, that is a directory listing, it will tell me that I've got all my home files, and I can see that I'm in as root on my Kali host, and that tilde just means that I'm in my home directory or my user's working profile directory. So when I do an ls, I can see that just like on a Windows machine, I have desktop, downloads, pictures, videos, music. All of these are defaults under each user in Linux, just like we'd see in Windows. There are some other commands though that we can do with there are some other options we can have with the ls command, like ls-a, and this is going to show all the files, not just the ones that are visible. This shows hidden files. So we can see there are folders like ... and there are files like bash history. There are hidden files in here. There are some public files. And then we have directories as well. You can tell on my Kali Linux box right now by default, the directories are showing in a slightly different color from the files. That helps me know that documents and desktop are folders. So if I say ls-l, and those are L's in both of those locations on an ls-1, ls-l, I can list a slightly different way so that I see directory, and then I see the desktop is colored like a directory. That is my actual desktop folder, just like I would have on Windows. Documents, the same thing as a directory. And these are whether they're readable or writable for first of all, the owner, and then for my group, and then for everybody or the world. So anybody can read this folder who has access to this machine. Anybody from my group can read and run files inside these directories. And I can read and write. So this ls-l gives us a long listing, so it gives every bit of information about these. And you can see I've created a file down here. We'll do a little bit more with files in a little bit. But that's just a regular file. If I combine those two, I can say ls space -al and hit enter. And you see I get a long listing of all the files. So ls-al gives me a long listing of all the files, including hidden files and hidden folders. And you can see we have some hidden files. Your bash history is just a history of all the commands you've entered into your shell. This bash shell just gives us a way to keep track, or this bash history gives us a way to keep track of all the Linux commands that we've entered in the shell, like this ls-al. We call this our command line shell in the terminal. And when I get a full screen like this, I'll show you one bonus thing that's handy, clear. That clears the screen back up so we can come back up to the top. So ls shows us all of our files. ls-al shows us everything, including hidden files in a long listing. And clear will just bring us back up to a clear terminal screen. So let's change directories inside one of those folders, cd space, and let's go to our desktop. So cd will change directories, cd space, and the name of a folder. Well, let's show you a shortcut that'll help us as well. And changing directories back up one, cd space ... The two dots will take us back up one directory. That's like hitting the up arrow when you have a graphical user interface for your files. So if I say CD space DE, if I start a capital D and a lowercase e, capitalization does matter in Linux. CD space capital D little e, and then hit the tab key, and you'll notice that it auto-fills for me. Then I can CD space ... to go back up a directory, CD space D little o. Notice if I hit tab, it doesn't do anything. If I hit tab twice, it tells me there are two folders, Documents and Downloads. So I need one more character. If I want to go into my Documents folder, CD Doc tab. And the tab key will help you autofill anytime you're surfing through directories or trying to find specific files. That's a really helpful autocomplete feature. In Linux and in Windows, we'll see that as well. So if I CD into Documents, I can see I'm in the Documents folder. If I just press CD and hit Enter, notice it takes me back to my tilde or my home directory. If I do an ls here, I'm back home. I'm back up one directory. CD space ... always takes you up one directory. CD and then nothing, CD just by itself, in Linux will take us to our user directory, our home directory. So it's a handy thing to be able to do from the command line. Let's clear the screen and do a couple more commands. Let's try to find out what kind of computer we're running on. So we'll do uname -a. This is our Unix name, or our host name. We can see I'm running on a Kali Linux 4.9 on an AMD 64 Debian Linux. So we can see a lot of information about the operating system that this computer is running. Let's do another command, history. And we'll see all the things that I've done in my history. That was history. And let me show you another really useful feature in Linux and Windows both from the command line. If you'll just hit your up arrow, do you see you get your last few commands? So if you want to go back and redo a command, all you have to do is hit your up arrow, and then down will take you back to where you are. So your up and down arrows will give you a shortcut to go back into your history. So we've hit 4 really cool commands: ls, cd, the uname to get our Unix name, and then history. And then we've seen how we can use tab to autofill and the up arrow and down arrow to repeat a command if we need to from our history. We'll see even more in the next lesson.